Are we? Always seeing if we do this right, people, because you never know. You never know.
You
You never
never
know.
know.
You never know. It says we're live. I'm going to need somebody to put in the chat box that you can hear me, that you can see me. Oh, I think we are. I think we are. It's Monday.
It's Monday,
It's Monday, and I'm
and
not
you're
Glenn Lundy.
and you're
I am
rocking
not
it.
Glenn Lundy. Can you believe this?
You are so not Glenn Lundy, but
Heather
you are
Parody here,
a
filling
rock star
in.
Heather Parody.
Thank you. Thank you. Filling in for Glenn Lundy. It is February, if you guys can believe it. February. I don't even know where this year is going. Y'all drop in the comment box. Make sure that you can. Okay, I see some likes. I see some likes. There we go. I think we're here. I think we're here. Glenn Lundy, I don't know where he's at in the world. I don't know where. I know that it is 2:30, I believe, wherever he's at. So I have the honor and joy of filling in for him this week and bringing you guys some incredible guests, people you may have not heard of. I promise you, you're not going to forget who these folks are. Good morning, Wendy. Good morning, Antonio. We had a good show for you this morning. Happy Monday. Let's start this show off right. Let's go. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. I messed that up. Woo.
Husband to one, father to nine, author, speaker, and the founder of 800% Life. It's 5:30 a.m. and it's time to rise and grind.
Here's the good news. I have all week to practice that. I have all week to practice that intro and make it a little better. Good morning, folks. Heather Parody here, filling in for Glenn Lundy. I have an incredible guest here this morning who's going to get us off on the right foot. This is Allan Jackson. He's an award-winning children's book author, literacy advocate, and a motivational speaker, honorary doctorate as well. He has an incredible story. It's 5:30 a.m. I asked you to get live on the internet. How do you feel about that, Ty?
I, you know, I'm privileged. I'm honored. I'm already up. So, so it wasn't that big a stretch. I admit I am not accustomed to doing interviews at 5:30. I might be meditating,
Uh-huh.
working out,
Uh-huh.
reading, or
Uh-huh.
snoring at 5:30, but not usually being interviewed. So,
Yeah.
first awesome time for everything.
It is. It's different. Um, I get up early too, but there's a
Yeah.
different. It's a different thing being live on the
Yeah.
internet.
That's real
But
talk.
the cool thing is this is the most amazing group of people for the past. I don't know if I told you this. Believe it's been 6 years. Glenn has been going live every Monday through Friday, every single day at 5:30 in
Wow.
the morning and building this community.
Oh my.
So if you are new around here, we start our mornings with intention and purpose. And before the rest of the world snatches our attention and tries to throw it somewhere where they want it to be put, we set it with positivity, encouragement, and these are a bunch of world changers in this room. So before we get started with you, Ty, I had a quote for today, and I'm kind of cheating my folks. I'm cheating my friends. This is not our official quote for the day, but this has been something that has been on my mind a lot lately. When I heard it, it's the definition of hell is your last day on earth. The person you became, there it goes again, the person you became meets the person you could have become.
Mm.
The person you became meets the person you could have become. So this week we're going to be talking about reinventing yourself and stepping into God's calling on your life, the fullest, most expressed version of yourself. And I believe that person is constantly evolving and changing. We've never arrived. But Ty, we only have you for 30 minutes, and I want everybody to get as much of your story and your perspective as possible. So we're just going to jump right in, y'all, if that's okay. When I read that quote to you, the person that you became meets the person you could have become. I'm curious what you believe that person, like the highest version of Ty, is, and have you always been in pursuit of that?
Oh, 100%. Well, you know what? I can't say always. I think in my 20s, like many of us in our 20s, where we think we know everything. Well, we know absolutely, actually know absolutely nothing. But we're doing our best to kind of like figure it out, or at least believe that we have it figured out. And um, as I got older and progressed, I took this life of mine much more seriously. I remember seeing my very first gray hair. As you can see, I have plenty more now. But I was kind of terrified because when I saw that first gray hair, I realized I was working a job I didn't like,
Mm,
in a place where I wasn't fulfilled, and I didn't know how I would get to where I to be the person I could become. I didn't even know what that becoming was, much less
mhm,
figuring it,
mhm.
but much less knowing how to get there. And it honestly was only like a week later before I had the epiphany that make me the person that I am today.
And let's talk about who that person is real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah.
You are a children's book author. You have a crazy story about how this came to be, but Danny Dollar, it's one of your books. One of your books. My daughter loves it. Got it for her when she told me she wanted to make her first lemonade stand.
Not love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. And not only what I love about you is not only have you done the unconventional thing, gone out and you know reinventing yourself, but you also did it. I would dare to say, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, really on your own, and
Yeah.
figuring out a way how to build. Let me show you guys a little bit. If you don't understand what this man's about and what he does, I didn't tell you I was going to have a little video tie of you, but let's just do that real quick. Playing live isn't showing. I'm having the heart.
That's so funny.
Good morning. Good morning. I see you. So nice to meet you. And you. And you. Okay, we just getting the party started. What does exercise and reading have in common? You exercise your brain. That is so dope. Come on, you're my biggest fan. Like, we need a superhero pose, like, whoa! And being a superhero teaches you that anything is possible. Anything in the world that it is that you want to become, you can do. You just gotta believe in yourself. If you love the Super Duper Kid, I want you to raise your book up in the air really high.
So you have sold over, goodness, what was it, 200,000 books?
Over a quarter of a million books independently.
Quarter of a
Yes.
million books. You have well over a quarter million followers. I know just on Instagram alone. I mean, you have built a massive audience. You've built demand with your books. And this was something that you reinvented, something that you created, and something that you did all on your own. So bring me back to like pre Danny Dollar. Who were you? What were you up to in the world? And what
Yeah.
gave you the idea to or the motivation to go full time with children's literacy?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that I may have gotten started on my own, but I certainly didn't grow on my own. So, I definitely
That's a
feel
good.
like I lit the match, but it was many others who helped contain the fire and become where we are today. But
Yeah.
it all started about 20 years ago when my son asked me a question that would change my life. I was working corporate sales at the time, and it was a good job, but it was a job nonetheless. And my son said, "Can we open up a lemonade stand?" And so we did it. In 3 hours, he made $50 selling lemonade, which kind of blew my mind. I'm thinking, we'll make $10, go get some ice cream, and call it a day. But he made $50, and he said, "Dad, what am I going to do with this $50?" And I said, "I don't know." So I went to my local bookstore to try to find a book to teach my son about what to do with his
Yeah.
$50. I could not find a book that taught a kid about money, that taught kids about money, and then I couldn't find a book. And then I noticed that the majority of the books there, just didn't feature diverse characters in contemporary positive ways. There were
That's
like,
true.
it
Yes.
was like, me and Jackie Robinson and Underground Railroads and stuff like that. But there was no fun, cool, contemporary, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, like, but with a black, brown protagonist.
Yes.
So the idea of writing a book popped into my head. I went home. The name Danny Dollar just popped in my head. I started typing. It took me a year to write the story. And then after submitting it to 147 agents and being rejected 147 times, I started my own publishing company. I named my company Big Head Books. You can see why. And then 2 years after my son said, "Hey, Dad, can we open up a lemonade stand?" This book was born, and it was really one of the proudest days of my life because I grew up impoverished, on welfare, teenage mom, parent in jail, and kind of statistically all the strikes against me, but I had found my calling and found my purpose, and from that point there was no stopping me.
I don't know. Marcus, I see you in here. Good morning. I see you, Mary Lynn. I see you, Youngin. I see you, Melvin. I see you, Rodney, Kat. Good to have you all here. I don't know if y'all are hearing what he just said. 140. Let me just hold up.
That's so great.
147 no's, and I'm sure many, many more no's in various ways of everything that you've built.
For
I'm going
sure.
to tell you what, one of people always say getting started is the hardest part. And for me, that's not been my experience. It's been staying in
Mm,
for years and no's and rejection and frustration and no outside validation that what you're doing, you are on the right path and keeping your spirit and your heart unbruised and unmoved. And like my friend said the other day, you're not bleeding on everybody in your pain. You know what I'm saying? Like that takes some
mm.
grit, vision, and conviction that what you've been called to do is something that you have been called to do. And that is the person that you're going to become. And I'm telling you, it's a cute video, but there's some depth to what you just said in that video. You published them yourselves and you had results. I would just want to hear about like that that resolve because I think in order to reinvent ourselves, we have to be able to see something that other people don't see.
Well, I think the secret sauce for me has been joy. I love this. You can see that resonate with my
Did you say
interaction.
drawing?
Joy,
I was like,
joy.
shoot, give me a pen. I'll start drawing right now. Dang, that's the secret,
uh,
y'all.
Yeah, it's passion, it's joy, it's like most people are not going to be driven to become that person unless it's something they're really passionate
Yeah,
about. And
yeah,
I was a young kid who loved reading at an early age. It was my very very first love of entertainment, not music or TV. It was books, and specifically comic books. And so, being that kid and now assisting kids on developing that joy, that's what I'm passionate about. And that's what carried me through the 140 rejections. That's what's carried me through consistently trying to get to that next level, and assist as many kids as possible to love and embrace the power of reading, in addition to supporting my endeavors to be, to cultivate my purpose. So yeah, to me, it's really about joy and passion and fulfillment. And I pinch myself every day to say this is what I get to do for a
yeah,
living.
yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick little pause there and we're going to try to do something. And I didn't tell you about this either. The fun thing about you is I said, "Hey, do you want to do a 5:30 a.m. live show?" And you said, "Sure," with no questions. But maybe if you would have known we were about to do this, you would
Uh-oh.
have said no. But this is the part of the show. Can you see in the comments? If you go to the chat box, do you see all
Okay.
those comments right there?
I am going to, let's see.
Chat
Nope, I
box.
don't. Oh, studio chat.
Yeah.
There's two boxes. One says everyone and the other one says studio chat.
Let's go
So I
to
guess
everybody. Let's look over there to everybody.
everybody. It says no, I don't see anything there.
That's okay because I can show it on the stream. Some of these folks who are saying good morning. So what we're going to do is we're going to jam out a little bit
Oh, what?
and we're
You
going to
got the
dance.
right guy.
Just a little. Oh, I got the right guy.
You got the right guy, Ma.
That's what I'm saying. So, good morning, y'all. This is the time of the show. We do. And my husband makes fun of me in the other room. He's like, what are you doing? Alexandria, good to see you this morning. I can tell them good morning. I'm going to pop them up and tell them Alexandria, Nicole, good morning. Mary Lynn, good morning. Y'all hear me? I don't know, but we're going to do it. Ramon, Ray, in the house. Kayla, Tony, I'm doing this over here. Good morning, Roger Hatfield. Good to see you. Good morning, Glenn Lundy, watching on the replay, hopefully. Hope you get a good snooze, Tony. Good to see you. Young and Johnson in the house. Melvin, as always, I think I'm going to see over and over again, but that's okay. Give a little bit of double love. A little bit of double love. We're so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. And listen. I hope that this conversation with Ty is just encouraging you that whatever vision you have on your heart, even if your outside circumstances aren't showing yet the fruit of what you're working on, your time will come. I believe that with all my heart, because the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. That is my favorite scripture in the world. And I'm curious with you, Ty, in this journey, because I can look at what you've done, getting to go speak all over the world, being able to impact hundreds of thousands of lives. Your community online absolutely adores you. You're getting such a great response there from parents who are wanting their kids to learn how to read, and just raising awareness about the generational impact that reading and education has. I could look at you and be like, oh, well, he's arrived. He has it all together and blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh, no.
Well, nobody has. Nobody has. And so I'm curious, like in the journey of reinvention and seeing results, what are some of the things that you struggle with now, and how are you keeping yourself in the game?
It's, I think like everybody else, it's consistency. I mean, I'd like to think the muscle memory of waking up every morning and making the phone calls and,
What do you do
doing
in
the
the
due
morning when you wake
diligence.
up? What's your routine?
Personally, I read. I eat the frog and read at least 15 minutes a day, and then I meditate for 5 minutes. I work out often from home. Right now, there's like a gazillion pounds of snow outside here in New York City, so I'm working out at home instead of going to the gym. And then shave my bald head. I do that every day except Sunday, and then I get to work. And work starts with a business meeting with my business partner, and then either making phone calls regarding visiting schools or organizations, or working on some digital products to encourage kids to become entrepreneurs, which is my big focus now on
Mm,
creating a project called the Entrepreneur Fair, which is the exact same as a science fair, just replace science with entrepreneurship. We actually started it about 4 years ago with 50 students. This year, about 4,000 students in 6 different states will participate in the Entrepreneur Fair, including a month from today, I will be in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, visiting 500 students who will showcase their ideas for a business.
you're
So,
so cool, dude. I love
so,
that. That's awesome.
yeah,
Congratulations on that. I don't
thank
I,
you.
I don't think I've ever told you this, but I have used one thing you told me, and last time I interviewed you, I have used it countless times as an example in private coaching calls with clients, friends, to encourage them. I think I've even mentioned it on the show a few times. It was one tip that you gave that I thought was so valuable, and I wish everybody in the world who's an entrepreneur or trying to do their own thing could hear this. I'm going to repeat it here. Well, actually, I'm going to key it up and let you do it because you're going to do it a little bit better. But can you tell us how the tactical thing that you did to get your books in the hands of so many people? There's this mindset that I've had where you think about one person, one person, one
Yeah,
person, and there's something
yeah.
to be said for that. But you started thinking in the hundreds of thousands before they even came, and you did something really interesting. Can you tell me what that was?
Well, what I discovered very quickly, especially as an indie author, that the traditional way of getting your books into bookstores and selling them that way doesn't quite work. You're
Yep.
not often in that fraternity. So I ask myself a very simple question: who is it that I want to serve? I want to serve children. Where are children? My objective isn't to get my books into the hands of booksellers and managers and store owners. My objective is to get my books into the hands of children. So where are children? Children are in schools. They're in organizations, youth organizations, boys and girls clubs, YMCA's, and so those are the institutions that I worked with. And I also ask myself, who will find this book relevant? It's a book about financial literacy and entrepreneurship. So banks, credit
Yep. Yep.
unions,
Yep.
investment centers. So anywhere with kids or financial literacy or any financial institutions, those are the places I went to. And then I told them, I figured out, what do these places stand for? What are their mission statements? I learned their mission statements, and then I figured out, how can you have this book become a tool to serve your purpose, your mission,
Yep.
not mine. So
Yep.
that was the secret sauce to me that changed everything, because now people were not buying my book. They were getting a tool to assist them in their endeavors, not mine.
That's so
And
good.
and that was the thing that changed everything. The next thing you know, institutions were buying thousands of copies of my books because it was an objective to accomplish their goal, not mine.
So good. So good. Because the implications of that, whether we're selling books or not, is that we think that there's one path, that if I'm going to go this conventional path, this is the way that you do it. And if I get rejected, then that's it. And I just have to keep pounding on that door. But you created another door. You started asking yourself very strategic questions and positioned it as an ad to someone else as opposed to promoting your book, which was just so, I'm telling you, man, I have repeated that story to so many folks who are discouraged with all the no's that they're getting. I'm curious. Let's go a little bit deep. We got 8 minutes. I'm sure everybody's in here's good. Are y'all good? You feeling great? Ooh, got 8 minutes left. So we're going to go real deep, real quick. I would love to hear your thoughts about when there is no support and you feel like you're doing it on your own, because you said now that you have support and you credit the people in the army and your team around you to get to you where you've been. But anyone who's listening to this who may be doing it all on their own, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for them?
I tell you, the greatest motivator for me to continue and push and drive is fear. And I think that people look at fear in a negative, and I've never, especially as an entrepreneur, looked at it that way. I'm more fearful of what happens if I don't push myself. I'm more fearful of what happens if I don't accomplish my goals. Many people are afraid to get on the stage. I'm afraid of what happens if I don't get on the stage. So that has been the force that has kind of pushed me. I want to make sure when I take my last breath, I feel good about the life that I've lived and that I've done as many things that I can do to push myself and be the best version of myself and assist
Mm.
as many people in becoming the best versions of their selves. And one of the primary ways I do that is just like not having fear about making the phone call, contacting the CEO, knocking on the door, asking for the order, doing whatever it is necessary, because we are here with this amazing gift called life, and we only get one of them. And why live it passively? Well, in most cases there is a no lose scenario. Like what's the worst that can happen by asking for the sale, by making the connection, by tapping the girl on the shoulder and asking her to dance? So what's the worst that can happen? You get told no, and then you just get the
But that
opportunity to
sucks.
but
That
and
hurts.
but yeah, but it builds resilience, it makes you stronger, and it also assists you. And you know what? Maybe tapping the girl on the shoulder isn't the right way. Maybe instead is confronting her humbly is the right way. So you know what I mean? Like,
Probably.
you know what I mean? Th- you learn. Yes, the nose hurt,
Yeah.
but so does that day after you've worked out hard. It hurts, but it
Mm-hmm.
but it makes us stronger. It's building us, it's forming us. And so, yeah, I relish the failures and the victories, and that's the other thing. I'm accountable for both of them. I
Mm,
pat myself on the back and kick myself in the butt for everything that I've won and lost, and removing that scapegoat, removing that excuse, and making
yeah.
myself 100% accountable for everything that happens to me is also paramount to, for me anyway, of being a success.
Do you believe in calling?
Do I believe in calling? I guess maybe in a practical way, because I didn't know that this is what I was supposed to do. I didn't get that question from my son until I was 40 years old, and my first book didn't come out till I was almost 43. I didn't
Mm,
know that was my calling. So do I believe in callings? Yes. But I believe we have multiple callings. I don't think there's one thing that we're supposed to be great
mm,
at.
mm,
I think you have a calling as a parent. I think you have a calling as an
yeah.
entrepreneur. I think you have a calling as a neighbor. So I think your calling is what you decide for it to be,
Mm.
and then once you do, be obnoxiously passionate about being the best of that.
How do you renew your passion when you feel like you've lost it? I'm just
Um,
asking you some just deep ass questions at
yeah,
5:56 because why not?
because always growing. I went from children's book author to, and took that, and then went to speaker, and
Yeah.
then went from speaker to now creator of these programs. It's all revolving around literacy. It's all revolving around children. These the books are the tree, but the speaking are the branch. The Danny Dollar Entrepreneur Fair is a branch. The gear are branches off the same tree, and you just continuously develop endless series of branches. Because if I just stayed an author, and there's nothing wrong with that, I mean, is but for me, I needed to cultivate different versions of how I can impact children
To
to
stay
like
passionate.
become, yeah, and just, but all branches off the same tree.
That is, you say, I love your tips. I love it. I think you just drop things and you don't even like, I don't even know if you know like how impactful they are, but that is such a, I don't know if many people talk about diversifying your offers and your brands as a tactic to stay passionate. It's kind of like dating your spouse. You know, you're going to go out
That's right.
and keep it alive and keep it fresh and go on trips, and so you do the same thing with your brand, your passion. You don't just stay stuck
Absolutely.
in one way, eat the macaroni and cheese at 6 p.m. and go to bed at 8:30 every day.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think as a spinoff to that, you talked about significant others. One of the things I did with my significant other, every road trip, we pick a decade to like have a music night, or music drive. So we'll have a 60s day, and then we'll just like put on a wig and funky glasses, or we'll have a disco drive, or
That's
disco,
cool.
or hip hop or classical, and we'll just take that 3 hour drive wherever we're going, and we'll just like rock out to whatever decade we're, and spinning off and having just different variations on how you can entertain yourself, build your business, get fit. Like these are the ways that you stay creative and you stay active, and you just, you know have fun by doing these things that we know we must do, but just figuring out creative ways to do them.
So good. So good. Y'all, I need you to connect Hi Allan Jackson over on your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We have the Danny Dollar series. You're working on this entrepreneur
Fair.
fair. I saw a Ferris wheel in my head. I don't know. I was like, why is there a Ferris wheel in my head? Because it's a fair. Where else would you like people to support your work? I also love you have, oh, I wish I would have wore it.
I should have worn it. My
I should
read
have
or
worn it.
else. Yeah, yeah.
We should have worn it. It's the read or else shirt. It's really, really cool. But is there anywhere else that you want to direct these viewers to?
Just directly to my website. Instagram and TikTok are probably my primary places. Just search Ty Allan. That's Allan with two A's, Allan. And my website, which is tyallanjackson.com. And I look forward to meeting you there.
Yeah. So you didn't have to get up at 5:30 a.m. and do this for our community. Thank you. And as a thank you, guys, please go over to, I'm going to say Instagram. You'll love his reels over there, and drop him a DM and let him know you appreciate him being here. And also, you didn't have to give your life to so many children and pour into them and pour into future generations. So thank you for your incredible work. Very last question before we get out of here is, what is something in your life right now that you are enjoying that has nothing
Living,
to do with your work?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like a new, oh, you already have an answer.
Yeah, yeah. I have two. I'm going to do them real quick. One, I moved back to New York City, which is where I was born and raised in the Bronx, and rediscovering New York was the old saying, you can never go home again. No, no, the phrase is, um, oh my gosh, no man fishes in the same river twice, for he is never the same man and it is never the same river. And so this place is not the same place. And I'm so privileged to be back here. And I'm being close to my mom. I'm spending much more quality time with her.
Good.
She was diagnosed with cancer recently. And so I moved back to New York in part to be with her. But no, she's rocking it. She's killing
Yeah.
it. And I'm happy to be part of that narrative of her rediscovering herself.
Beautiful, beautiful. Y'all, I hope you have a freaking awesome Monday. Thanks for spending your time with us here. We'll be back tomorrow, 5:30 a.m. live. And the person we have tomorrow, I'm going to give you a little hint. It is someone that you have heard several stories about that Glenn has shared here, but I don't think you've ever met. That's the hint. You've heard several stories about this person, but you have never met them. So that's tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. live. Ty, thank you so much for your time. This was
You
awesome.
rock, Heather. Thank you.